We are the Fourth. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And a beautiful night, hot here in St. Louis. It's game number 2. The Pittsburgh Pirates and the St. Louis Cardinals. With Jim Hayes and Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to the broadcast booth here at Busch Stadium. The Cardinals, a dramatic win in game number 1, one of the best wins of the year. Now, turn the page, game number 2. Miles Mikolas going tonight.
You turn the page with one of your best, really, in the National League. Miles Mikolas has been outstanding. Cardinals made a great signing. Look at his numbers. 6 wins, only 2 in the National League with more than him. 2.58 ERA. That ranks high as well. But some other big numbers, the strikeout-walk ratio, the best in the National League. Miles Mikolas has been pounding the strike zone, nearly 70% of his pitches in the zone.
Strikeout to walk ratio, it might be the best ever before it's all said and done. Currently, as Rick mentioned, 7.29, but take a look at the others on this list. Some big names in Cardinals history. Wainwright, Tewksbury a couple of times, the great Bob Gibson, and the Cardinals Hall of Famer Chris Carpenter. Couple of guys starting to heat it up in the Cardinal lineup. Matt Carpenter and Dexter Fowler. Does it carry over to game number 2? We're about to find out. Baseball coming up. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. And by Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the St. Louis area. Find yours at your Mid-America Chevy dealer. From Ballpark Village to Miles Michaelis, it's game number 2 tonight. Michaelis and James Tyone. The Pirates, the Cardinals. More dramatics? We're about to find out. St. Louis. And a ground ball. It's a double play with the bases loaded. Cervelli with a fly ball out to deep left. 3-run homer. The Pirates go on top. Munoz with a drive. It's at the wall. Walk it off. A remarkable comeback for the Cardinals. And here we are 24 hours later. What a comeback that was for St. Louis. And now you turn the page on game 1. It's the Pirates and Cardinals in game 2. That's Rick Horton. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jim Hayes is with us as well. The Cardinals with the win, now 4.5 games back in the Central. Pittsburgh with that loss, 6.5 games out, but still the ballpark buzzing about last night.
Oh, great finish. A great call by my friend and partner Dan McLaughlin. But as you say, Dan, in this game, you have to turn the page and go get them again the next day. I'm sure both teams will be ready. They'll put it behind them. But both teams still having issues with what the problem was yesterday. Bullpen.
That's why his start tonight is so important.
Very timely, because Miles Michaelis has been going deep into games. He's been keeping the pitch count low enough so he gets into the 7th inning and beyond. And that would be good medicine for the Cardinals here tonight on a beautiful night, Dan. Warm night for baseball in St. Louis.
It's another packed house for the Yachty Tumbler giveaway. Game number 2, the Cardinals and the Pirates. Miles Michaelis last time out against Pittsburgh. That was over the weekend. He allowed 4 earned runs in 6 innings, took a no decision. That was an eventual 6-4 win for the Cardinals. They came back late in that game. This guy has been nothing short of spectacular this year.
And amazing what we saw from him the first 2 games in spring training. Wasn't spectacular, Dan. We had some questions. Here's his Hyundai pitch arsenal. About 50% fastballs, sliders, more to right-handed batters, curveballs and changeups, more to left-handers. He's got a good mix, and he will even mix up velocity and arm angles with each of those pitches. But what we saw in spring training, Dan, we thought, I'm not sure, but boy, are we sure now.
You said we had questions. I'll say it, we had more than that. We were wondering. A lot.
Big question.
Yes. Well, Clint Hurdle's club has dropped 10 of their last 13. Here's their lineup. Adam Frazier at the top, and then Francisco Cervelli and Starling Marte. Josh Bell, a homer last night. Corey Dickerson, Colin Moran, Gregory Polanco, Jordy Mercer, and Jamison Tyone. Rounding out the 9 for the Pirates lineup tonight. Let's turn to Rick Horton's Toyota key to the game.
Well, I think this key is a little bit of how baseball works, Dan. You have confidence and emotion after what happened last night, but you still have to have preparation and execution today. So it's really a matter of feeling it, but then you've got to keep working at it, and then you got to do it. And you can't just ride off the emotion of the night before. Fans will say, boy, what a great win, and then it was flat the next day. Well, it's still hard work to play this game. Pirates are going to turn to page 2, and they're going to come out to play. They're going to swing the bat. They did not have a bad game yesterday, except for inning number 9.
They battled back. They were down at 1 point 4-0, then 5-4, took a lead 8-5, and the Cardinals put up a 5 spot in the bottom of the 9th. This is Adam Frazier. Josh Harrison was a late scratch in their lineup, so Frazier takes over at second base and the leadoff spot. It's 0-2. Outfield is straight away, and the 0-2 pitch by Michaelis. Miles has been sensational here at home. Last game, a complete game shutout. First time he's ever done that in Major League Baseball, and has not allowed a run in his last 17 innings here at Busch Stadium. There's a broken back grounder hit softly to Colton Wong for the out. Around the Horn, presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Ozuna, Bader, and Fowler in the outfield. Carpenter, Munoz, Wong, and Martinez along the infield. And Francisco Pena behind the plate. Jairo Munoz, before he hit that dramatic 3-run homer, remember he kind of booted a couple of balls, but he wound up with 5 RBI on the night. Overlooked was a pair of runs scored in the first inning, part of a 4-run first for the Cardinals. He's back in there tonight, and there's strike 1. Francisco Cervelli putting together an all-star campaign. Leads all major league catchers in RBI. He's got 33 coming into play tonight. It's a good player.
Still has that compression sleeve on after yesterday he got hit, and it seems as if his elbow still looks a little bruised to me, just really below the elbow, more towards the forearm, but on the backside he got hit pretty good yesterday. You know, one thing I like about Michaelis, and the more I watch him pitch, and I've said at one point that he reminded me of Bob Tewksbury plus 10 to 15 miles an hour, which of course if Bob heard me say that he would probably be pretty upset, but I'd say, Bob, look at the numbers. But with Michaelis, I think it's his slow delivery. He has a really easy pace to his delivery, and then the ball just jumps out of his hand. And so 96 might look like 99 to big league hitters. And I love this easy delivery, and I think the easy delivery, Dan, adds to the total number of strikes that he throws.
It's very smooth. He does not fall off to the first base side when he was a max effort guy. A lot of times he would do that. Watch how direct he is to the plate. There's a strikeout.
It's just not a complex delivery at all.
I think more and more we're seeing in Major League Baseball, it's being taught to eliminate the hands going above the head.
Absolutely.
And either start at the belt or at the chest.
I love the old school videos of the teams from the 30s and the 40s when they had those just, I mean, whirling arms all over the place, way over their heads, the big leg kicks and all kinds of stuff that frankly just get you to the spot where everybody else gets to eventually.
There's ball 1. I wonder who that young fan is rooting for. Arr.
Doesn't look very happy at the moment.
No, that's not fun at the old ballpark there. Right center, and that'll drop in for a base hit. So 2-out hit for Starling Marte, and it brings in the switch hitting Josh Bell.
And now he's happy.
Sometimes you see a pitcher actually draw a line from in the dirt from the rubber to the plate, reminding them to stay direct, or it also gives them an idea where to plant the front foot.
Jaime Garcia used to do that all the time. That's a perfect example. And what you do is you draw the line because you know what the plan is, and you've learned, you've known when you've pitched well what works, and then if you happen to look down and realize, wait a minute, my foot's in the wrong spot here, you can self-correct quicker than a coach can help you. And by the way, a coach might not even see that. You know, we expect miracles out of pitching coaches, that you're watching from a side angle, and you know, you're looking for tendencies, and maybe if a pitcher's arm is dragging, maybe, or if their arm's dropping, you can see some things. But there are times where a pitcher just has to self-correct.
And usually that happens with a little feel, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Well, you're not watching video while you're out on the mound.
You wouldn't think.
There's a time and a place for video, and then there's a time and a place for feel.
Which it does bring up an interesting point. Hitters will go between innings in the dugout, then back to the video room and watch video of themselves in at bats. I wonder how often that happens with a pitcher, if at all.
We don't normally see a pitcher leave the dugout. I don't think I found a pitching coach who would be in favor of a pitcher doing that. I don't know if you would stop somebody or not. I don't think they would do that, but
now 2 balls 1 strike on Josh Bell. Home run number 4 last night. A 2-run shot.
Mike Rourke showed me video in, I'm going to say, 1987. It was rudimentary. It was this little screen. It was probably black. I think it was black and white. Came in before a game. He said, I want you to look at this video and look what you're doing. He said, see where your arms are? I said, no. He said, well, see how you're opening up? And I said, no. He said, how about the hips? Can you see what you're doing with your hips? I said, no. And he goes, okay, we're done.
That was it.
That was it. And I never did it again.
That was your video lesson.
Yeah, right.
Boy, it's amazing. You know, every player has a personalized tablet that they carry with them. They can take it back to the hotel, their homes, on the planes, and it's loaded up with all kinds of video and info.
2 sides to that. What are you doing, and what is the guy doing that you're going to be hitting against? Or from a pitcher's point of view, what are the hitter's tendencies that you'll be facing that day?
And a rare walk by Michaelis, just the 8th walk of the year. He comes in after the strikeout of Cervelli with 52 strikeouts to now 8 walks. That's incredible. There's Corey Dickerson, who's batting .310.
One last story, Dan, from Mike Rourke, who is a terrific pitching coach. He also had me in the Dodger bullpen on the visitor's side during batting practice, and he had me blindfolded. And he said, if you're a pitcher, it's a feel thing. And that's so we got over the video. Now we got on to feel. And he said, OK, I want you to throw a strike blindfolded. So I threw a pitch onto the field at Dodger Stadium from the bullpen down the right field line over a fence that was probably 30 feet high, rolled all the way to the field, and he took the blindfold off. So that didn't work either. So then they traded me.
And then you were gone.
Somebody else's problem.
Well, worked out pretty well. Won a world title with the Dodgers and came back to St. Louis. We just saw a rare mistake there with the Cardinals as Michaelis delivered that last pitch as Munoz was going to the bag at second.
Yeah, you have to be in communication about that. You can't leave a hole open, especially with a guy that sprays the ball like Dickerson. He hits the ball, Dan, all over the place from what we've seen of him. Good player.
We have seen a lot of the Pirates this week, and then after this series, we'll go to Pittsburgh one more time, see him at the end of the year, and that'll be it. Cardinals already done with the New York Mets. That happened early on. And a little chopper that's hit to Colton Wong. The Pirates will strand a pair, and the Cardinals coming up in the home half of the first, and there's no score here at Busch Stadium. From 199 to 229 at the start of play tonight. And the lineup with Carpenter at the top, and then Harrison Bader, Jose Martinez, Marcelo Zuna, Dexter Fowler, Jairo Munoz, Colton Wong, Francisco Pena, and Miles Michaelis. Jamison Taillon, the Pirates have lost 6 of his last 8 starts, and Taillon is 0-4 with an ERA near 7 in those 8 outings. Take a look at the Hyundai pitch arsenal.
He throws hard, Dan, and he's added a slider. And now that's a low percentage of sliders, but he's going to throw that to right-handers. He threw it against the Cardinals in Pittsburgh. Taillon, by the way, has not won in his last 9 starts. The last time he won is the game where he hit the Cincinnati Reds. That was in mid-April, so that was a long time ago. He hasn't had all terrible games since then. He just hasn't been able to get support or get deep enough to get wins.
Here's a 1-1, and Carpenter hits a ground ball to the right side for the first out. Old Dominion bringing his best. Harrison Bader, 6-game hit streak, hitting .500 during the 6 games. Couple of homers, driven in 3. He scored 5. We talked about it last night, Ricky. The Cardinals, right now, you ride out that hot bat, and certainly that's Harrison Bader.
And the number of hot players for the Cardinals who happen to be young is astounding. Bader, one of them. In fact, today, I noticed that among National League rookies, he has the top batting average at .290. But you think about the contribution of Jack Flaherty and Munoz. It's some young players contributing.
Jordan Hicks,
another one.
So Tommy Pham, the odd man out tonight in the 3 that have to play out there. Of the 4 options right now for Mike Matheny, Tommy is 3 for his last 38 with 16 strikeouts. So he sits tonight, and Bader gets the call. Right now, Tommy just trying to figure out his swing, and when he does, we've seen it, could be streaky and carry a team, and he did that in the first month. 2-2. Harrison Bader overlooked in the dramatic win, but he started that 9th inning rally with a double down the third base line. Luke Voigt, his first plate appearance of the season, turned out to be a single that drove in 2. As Bader pulls it foul. We were talking last night about the speed of Harrison Bader, and I'm sure Hall of Famer Lou Brock, who's watching tonight, appreciates the speed and the hustle of this young man, Harrison Bader. And Lou, we're thinking about you. Want to see you back down here very soon.
All Cardinal fans love Lou Brock, you and I included.
And that's inside. A 1-out walk. The defense of the Pirates tonight: Dickerson, Marte, and Polanco in the outfield. Around the horn, presented by Dobbs. Moran, Mercer, Frazier, and Bell on the infield, and Cervelli is behind the plate. Harrison Bader, by the way, with 6 stolen bases. He's been caught twice.
We learned last night that he is in the top 10 in the National League in just pure speed on the bases. Measured by StatCast, the actual velocity, the miles per hour that you run, and Bader up among the best.
I wonder how aggressive Mike Matheny would like to be after the way the game ended last night. Apply the pressure here in Game 2. Could do some things with Bader at first.
I think hit and run's a good idea always with Jose Martinez.
And he grounds it left side. Moran to Frazier, and the throw up the line.
I look back to see if they might call Martinez out on the play at second base. That was a pretty strong slide for Harrison Bader. Our umpire there at second base, Marvin Hudson, said no problem with that slide, but it's not really that late, but it's a little high. And that one of those unclear rules, but that's why the throw was off balance. He threw off the trajectory of that throw, and that's why Martinez is aboard.
And the Pirates are taking a look at this. The second base umpire is Marvin Hudson. And now Clint Hurdle out of the dugout. I was going to make the point, by the way, about Bader. And it's funny how things happen sometimes, and we want to say them quickly, and then the play develops.
Right.
One of the points I was going to make, and we were talking about Lou Brock. Lou went hard into the bag. Bader is, at least with the current players, the guy that goes in my mind, the hardest when he's sliding into a particular bag. And this is a reviewable play. I understand the rule. I know why it's there, to protect players. I don't like it. I mean, this is baseball, man. It's a big leagues, man.
Well, there's certainly two sides to it. There's the players' health side of it, and we've seen a couple of nasty injuries at second base in the last 5 years in the game, and that's why they did change this. The slide, again, he's on the bag. The question is, did he slide through the bag or over the bag? He certainly was on the bag. The question is he too high right there with the left elbow into the thigh? And, you know, it's very subjective to me. Some reviews are clear cut, fair foul, home run, no home run. To me, there's just a lot of subjectivity into this.
You may remember a couple of years ago, the Pirates had an incident late in September. They were in the race, and it was Chris Coughlin that took out their second baseman and cost them.
I frankly think this is not going to go the Cardinals' way. I think that's going to be a double play. I noticed it right away. It looked different.
And so it turns into a double play. Again, the slide by Bader. Jeez.
Dan Jairo Munoz had never hit a walk-off home run at any level until last night, a 3-run shot that won it for the Cardinals. Munoz is hitting .424 since May 18th. Looks like a different player than the guy that made the team out of spring training, then struggled at the plate. Jairo told me I was really pressing. I was trying to hit a home run on every pitch. Yadi told me that I need to relax and just try to get on base. Last night, it was a home run for Munoz. He told me the first person he called after the game was his older brother, Heidel, who used to play in the Phillies organization. Dan Jairo said he kind of had to call Heidel. Jairo said by the time he got in the clubhouse, Heidel had already left him 17 messages. 17. You got to call the older brother back after that, right?
Is that text messages or voice messages?
He said they were voice messages.
Awesome. Good stuff.
What a great moment for Jairo.
Yeah, and you had the chance to visit with him, as you talked about on the pregame show and the postgame last night. Give me an idea of just his excitement level and what it was like inside that clubhouse.
Well, first of all, everyone really likes Jairo. Secondly, they realized that his initial call up, he had struggled at the plate and is a different guy. And he took a lot of pride in the fact that they know DeYoung is out and other guys have to step up, and he helped his team in a key situation last night. He jumped on a first pitch fastball. He told me I knew it was gone.
Jim, I thought it was interesting that he told you that he went home last night and wrote down all the feelings he had during that moment. I found that interesting.
Well, more interesting, he got the ball back, right? And Francisco Pena gave it to him while he was in the shower, as if there's some place to put it in the shower. But he said he's going to get it, inscribed and everything, and eventually it'll go on his mantle with some thoughts about what he was feeling in that moment, Ricky.
Good stuff, Jimmy, as Colin Moran grounds to second for the out. The Cardinals now with 6 walk-offs this year, most in baseball. Munoz, the 5th different player responsible for the 6 different walk-offs. What a wild game that was for Mike Matheny. 3 double switches, 19 position players used. But it worked.
And Mike, I had a chance to visit with him a little bit today, and I think all of us agree that it wasn't a great Cardinal game, but it was a great Cardinal finish. The defense wasn't great during the game. There were a number of errors. When you win a game where you make 3 errors, your bullpen struggles, and your starter only goes 5 and gives up the lead, and yet you win it, a lot of good feelings cover a multitude of sins.
And again, time granted. We saw the Pirates do this a bunch against Jack Flaherty last night. He got frustrated. He was mad.
He looked mad right there.
Yeah, he wasn't happy about that. That's his teammate out there. A little bit low, and it's 1 ball 1 strike. Polanco 3 for 4 in game 1. Pair of doubles. He had come into this series 3 for his last 38. And he hits a high fly ball into left center. Bader on the move near the wall. He's got it. Oh, what a play by Harrison Bader. Take a listen here.
A long way to go for Harrison Bader. He checks the wall, then he catches it, then he finds the wall again. And a tip of the cap from Miles Michaelis.
Young man can cover some ground. He ran 121 feet on the play. Then crashed into our microphone in that bullpen of the Pirates. Here's the 0-1. And it's 0-2 now on Jordy Mercer. The 0-2 pitch. Grounded to third. Carpenter with it to Martinez. Nice defense behind Miles Michaelis. Coming up, the left fielder Marcell Ozuna. Bader moments ago. Lowe's whole team together. Teams with 15 or more wins in both March, April, and May this year. And the Cardinals, one of 5 to have done that in the National League. And the Cardinals start play with a record of 30-24.
Cardinals, Dan, have not been, you wouldn't say they've had awesome stretches where they've just been dominant, but 3 games over 500 the first month, 3 games over 500 the second month. As we roll into June, Cardinals are at the 1/3 mark of the season with the game yesterday, 54 games. And I'm not sure you can say you know a lot more about where they're going to end up than you knew coming out of spring training at the moment.
I would agree. As we talked about, if you're giving them a grade, it would be, at least in my mind, incomplete. You've got to get some of the big stars back. Namely, that one there on the left. That would help. Carlos Martinez would help. You've got a shortstop that's missing in Paul DeJong. Now, there's Carlos. The shortstops have filled in admirably, but DeJong, a guy that, if healthy and plays 150 games, can pop 25 home runs. And still waiting for Marcell Ozuna to be at least a portion of the Marcell Ozuna from a year ago. 3-2.
Just pounding his right leg. He wants to stay back on it. He wants to stay back and keep loaded on that right leg and then explode, and he's just having trouble. He's getting out front. Better swing there.
Moran, a long throw, and gets Ozuna. Arcia drive to success. Dexter Fowler the last couple of games. He's 5 for 8 with a double, 2 RBI, and 3 runs scored. Average in the last 2 games has jumped from 157 to 180. So still early in a season when you can go 5 for 8, your average has a significant jump one way or another.
Well, Matt Carpenter's proven just how much you can raise your average in about 3 weeks. He was at 140 not that long ago.
Here's a 1-0. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. And Fowler hits it sharply to Bell. Flips to the pitcher, Tyone. And there's 2 outs. The Kubota power stats, and why not? Jairo Munoz making an impact here for the Cardinals. 6-game hitting streak. And if you want to take it even further, his last 9 games, a .452 average. And there's the home run from last night.
This kind of production is what we saw in spring training, and again, it is spring training and you don't want to put too much stock in it, but he was very impressive. Power numbers, not just getting base hits, but driving the ball.
Mercer quickly to first, and Munoz retired. The Cardinals go 1-2-3. We're at Busch Stadium. No score. All-Star ballot is now open exclusively online. And the All-Star game presented by MasterCard July 17th, and it's only on Fox. Cardinals.com/vote. There's about 50 members of the Cardinals front office in attendance this weekend. Scouts, folks from the analytics department, medical groups all across the team of what the Cardinals franchise has. And they're in town because the draft is coming. A few days away. I talked to Randy Flores today, who heads up the draft, and some earlier picks than a year ago. And he said, boy, you would not believe, Ricky, the power arms that they are seeing. The trend this year, kind of the common theme of the draft, and that's Ryan Franklin there. But the common theme is power arms, and not just at the college level, but young high school players as well.
We talked last night about how well the Cardinals have done actually a terrific job of getting good power arms in the first round in the last 6 or 7 years. And you can go back to Shelby Miller, and you can talk about Luke Weaver and Michael Wacha, Jack Flaherty. Just one after Alex Reyes is an international signing, but a lot of top first round picks, and they just really haven't swung and missed on any of them. Marco Gonzalez became a way to get Tyler O'Neill.
Munoz gloves and makes the play.
And Marco's actually pitching very well with Seattle at the moment at the big league level.
The Budweiser Terrace tonight won Cliff Polite.
And I know the folks in the Budweiser Terrace can hear us, and we want to say a specific hello to Cliff, a great friend and terrific Cardinal, and we want everybody to go up to Cliff and ask him how good a catcher Dan McLaughlin was in high school and college.
I was good at picking up the ball at the backstop.
We want you to go see Cliff and ask him what he thinks.
That's off of Michaelis, and that'll be a base hit. Miles seems to be okay, and Frazier on his way to second base. Cliff attended, by the way, Vianney High School, and then eventually wound up in the major leagues with the St. Louis Cardinals. And congratulations to the Golden Griffins winning a state championship in baseball today. Vianney High School. It was 97 miles an hour off the bat.
Looks like it may have hit him on the inside of the left ankle, maybe the instep or a little higher. And you know, you like the fact that players, think about the fact that the players are wearing those higher shoes than they would have worn years ago, and maybe a little extra protection there. Players have to be smart about protection. Guys in the box do it, guys behind the plate do it, but even a pitcher with a little more padding on that shoe, I would say that was advantageous for Miles Michaelis on that hard hit ball. Seems to be okay.
We had the promo I just read for the All-Star game. This would be one of the candidates right now for the Cardinals to make the All-Star team.
Absolutely. Fans, of course, will vote for players, and the manager will pick pitchers, and there's a lot of input from the league too. You want to make sure you spread out every team getting recognized. But Michaelis, you could say Scherzer. You might say Scherzer's having a better year. You can argue that, but you can't argue very many other guys having a better year than Michaelis.
And a strike. Francisco Cervelli. To keep a close eye on Miles and just watch him get the ball back. He was kind of
grimacing there.
Yeah, he was walking back to the pitching mound and the rubber.
I'm not sure that pitch felt right to him. I'm hoping that was a cutter and not a fastball. It was 89.
And a grounder that's pulled foul. That would be his plant leg, the left leg for Miles Michaelis. That ankle or foot.
He looks fine landing, but how does it feel landing? And You know, when you land, the interesting thing is you land slightly, often you land slightly closed, and then you turn on your foot a little bit, and you just almost throw off that stiff front leg when you land. And there's a lot of pressure on that left foot when you land.
And the 1-2 inside, and it hits Cervelli. It's the second time he's been hit by a pitch in this series.
Well, at least at the moment, things seem a little different for Miles Mikolas after he got hit. That ball just flaring off inside on Cervelli. 9 times this year he's been hit. That one not nearly as hard as he got hit here last night.
It swelled up right away near the elbow and the forearm. He was hit by that pitch, stayed in the game, hit a 3-run homer that put the Pirates on top briefly. Here's Marte and looks at a strike. You may remember Miles Mikolas was a Pirate for about a month. He was traded to the Pirates from the Padres. It was a 3-team deal. Then he was flipped to the Rangers for first baseman Chris McGinnis. And a ground ball backhanded by Munoz and an error. That'll be his 3rd on the year. The bases will be loaded.
Boy, this is a tough error. He tries to handle it on the backhand instead of it getting it in a normal fielding position. I think he felt comfortable getting that backhand. It just hit the wrong spot, and that play needed to be made for Miles Mikolas. Where he is right now, I'd just like to see him get in quickly and kind of look at his ankle, make sure everything's okay, and start over again next inning. But his velocity's down about 3 miles an hour since he got hit on all of his pitches.
And a pitch in the dirt. So the base is loaded. And Bell at the plate with 1 out. And it's 2 balls and no strikes. I am with you. Something's off just a bit since he was hit. Takes a deep breath and has to regroup and get Bell here. And doesn't get the call on a ball right down the middle.
Oh boy.
That won't help. Watch Pena, you kind of stabbed at it a little bit, and I think that's what hurt him. But that's a strike.
100%.
Three and one.
That's the importance of receiving a ball well, and he was set up outside, and the ball went over the middle of the plate, and I think it fooled him a little bit. But as an umpire, you still have to call the pitch where it is.
Bell is grounded into 3 double plays. Now Mikolas steps off, and they'll run through the signs again. The 3-1 pitch, and it's hit in the air to left field. Ozuna with the catch, and the throw will be let through by Matt Carpenter, but the run will score. Frazier makes it 1-0 Pittsburgh. And the RBI for Bell, number 32.
Well, you know, Frazier runs well. Not much of a chance really to throw him out from left field, and 1 run in this inning would feel like a victory. And that should be the 3rd out of the inning.
I wonder if Munoz on that play, and you're right, he didn't get in quite the right position to field it, but I wonder if he was thinking to go to 3rd, or was he going to think about getting a double play?
Good question. I think he was thinking he wanted 2 and wanted more, maybe a little bit ambitious.
So Dickerson at the plate, and a ground ball. Wong to his left, scoops it up. Nice play. 1 run scores, and it's 1-0 Pittsburgh.
This is a play that not every second baseman can make. He ranges far to his left, and then he's got to make that off-balance throw. And he has been so smooth, no jittery hands, very comfortable with that outstanding range. And maybe Colton Wong can get things started here for the Cardinals, Dan, in the bottom of the third.
Playing time has been sporadic this year for Wong. He's batting .180, 3 home runs. He's driven in 9. Came in the 6th inning. The ball game last night, went 1 for 2. Right before Tyone was going to deliver the first pitch of the inning, he just throws the ball out. Now, usually if the ball has been scuffed up, it's in the dirt warming up, they'll throw it out, but that was unusual. Here's the 0-1. And it's 0-2. We talked about the Cardinals' record, 15 wins in the month of May, 12 losses. And they did that with 11 players that hit the DL. As Wong puts it up the first base line, Bell is there and steps on the bag.
So the Cardinals have been consistent, just a little bit over 500. The Pirates started out on fire, and they have only won 3 out of their last 13 games. So this is a team that's trying to regain their confidence. And all the DL placements for the Cardinals, 11 of them in the month of May, more than the Mets and other teams, but that's still just that's a ton of people. When Jim Hayes does his report on the DL, we can't give him enough time, can we?
A lot of guys to talk about. Cardinals still waiting for Miles Michaelis to move to the on-deck circle. And it's 0-2 the count on Pena. And there's Miles popping out of the dugout.
Wonder if he got taped or something, or some treatment quickly on that ankle.
You could see Mike Matheny look at him. He said, "Are you all right?" And the 1-2 pitch. The strikeout of Francisco Pena. Friday, June 29th, 30,000 fans, 16 and older. They'll get a fashion boost when they take home a one-of-a-kind Cardinals all over print shirt, courtesy of the Shane Company. Get your tickets June 29th. The Braves will be here. Cardinals.com/promotions. Well, that is a good-looking shirt. I think that was last year's all-over print shirt. And Ricky, that would look just tremendous for you. I know you do a number of speaking engagements. I think you should show up at a high-end board meeting in that shirt and wow them.
You think that would work more for the caravan maybe, or the winter warm-up?
Probably, but you never know. And Michael is just very easily trotting down that first base line. Jason Day, defending champ Justin Thomas. All of them and many more will be at Belle Reve Country Club right here in St. Louis, as the eyes of the golf world will be on the Gateway City. Belle Reve has done a remarkable job getting the course ready. A lot of events taking place this summer. Congratulations to them. Tickets still on sale, but going fast. Let's check in with Jim Hayes.
Dan Yadier Molina said this of the foul tip and the traumatic injury to the pelvic region that put him on the DL. That was the worst pain of my life. I've been hit a bunch of times. Believe me, that was the worst. Yadi is set to go out on a rehab assignment with Springfield for 2 games starting tomorrow. Yadi told me the pain has been gone for a while, and he said, I just have to find out how my body reacts to playing in games. Yadi has 2 new, bigger and stronger protective cups. He says he hopes to be back behind the plate with the Cardinals on Tuesday night. Carlos Martinez hopes to be back in the rotation Tuesday night, so Yadi would be catching Carlos. Yadi told me that's the plan. Dan, nothing official on that as of yet.
Still, though, everything trending in the right direction. That is very good news. There's Colin Moran. And Moran lifts a fly ball into right. Dexter Fowler catches it at his chest. And there's 1 out.
Well, the mystery may be solved about why Miles Mikolas was taking some time to come out to the mound. Those are not the shoes he was wearing when he was hit by that ground ball off the bat of Frazier. Those were a more high top variety, and I guess that's one way to handle the swelling. Go to the low tops and go to a shoe that fits a little better. So that's why he was not in the on deck circle. Adam Olson, the head athletic trainer for the Cardinals, watching.
Gregory Polanco was robbed by Harrison Bader first time up. Tremendous catch right at the wall in the bullpen of the Pittsburgh Pirates. It was back in the 2nd inning, and here it is. If you missed it, the catch by Bader. Statcast. And Bader tested again. This one a little bit easier. This summer, the World Cup coming to Fox and FS1. Every match live, 300 hours of coverage. The world's biggest sporting event begins June 14th on Fox and FS1.
I was a little surprised that the catch probability was 32% on that ball that Bader caught. I thought it'd be lower than that.
It's a heck of a play,
considering the distance that he traveled.
But one of the amazing numbers about Michaelis coming into this start, 69% of his pitches strikes. There's a ground ball that's hit to third. Carpenter flips it over to Martinez at a 7-pitch inning for Miles Michaelis. Top of the lineup coming up. It's 1-0 Pittsburgh. St. Louis Browns managed the team, Hall of Famer, and served in the World War I as a member of the Chemical Warfare Services Gas and Flame Division. The St. Louis Browns and George Sisler and his statue outside the ballpark. I was saddened to hear the news of Chuck Stevens, the former Brown and oldest living major league player. Would have been 100 in July. He just passed away, and the St. Louis Browns has a group that still gets together. July 12th, they'll have their annual luncheon, and they were hoping that Chuck Stevens would be there, but obviously he has passed away, and our thoughts and prayers with the Stevens family.
It's been a nice group over the years staying together, and we know not everybody loves history the way others do, but if you do love history, the Hall of Fame Museum is the place to go. And if you've not been to that, or if you have been to it, maybe you need to go again. And there's so many great little anecdotes there and stories and artifacts, and the folks there are very knowledgeable. So I certainly recommend a visit over to Ballpark Village and the Cardinals Baseball Hall of Fame.
I just saw something I don't think I have ever seen. Here's a 1-2. That foul ball, the ball boy or ball man fielded it cleanly and then threw a bullet at somebody in the stands. I mean, a bullet. Boom, there you go. Here's your souvenir. I mean, usually it's just it's a handoff or a little flip. I mean, this thing was overhanded and whop.
I'm pretty sure that's covered day one in ball person 101 courses. Do not fire the ball at a fan.
No,
I'm just thinking that would be logical. Game's over there.
Okay, here we go. Nope, that's not the one that did it. See, now this should be a little flip. That's easy. Now that's how you do it. That's textbook. Typically, you'd like to give it to a young fan. But I mean, this thing was about 5-10 rows deep. What, you're not paying attention? Whop! Bam! Boom! Can't do that, Rick. And Carpenter strikes out. But I had never seen that before. You come to the ballpark, you're going to see something you've never seen before.
Red Shandings tells us that every year. You know, we certainly thinking about Red. We love Red. Hope he's watching tonight. And he has said that for so many years I can't count. That you always see something new every baseball season.
Here's Bader. He walked and then was erased on a double play back in the first inning. Hits it sharply to short. Mercer settles and throws. Bader hustling down the line. I just like to watch him run.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, that was a hard hit ball and he made it very close. And Mike Maddox, a little slap on the backside, and you appreciate the hustle.
Well, I didn't have my stopwatch on it, but I can promise you somebody from the Pirates did, and next time he hits a ball, they're going to rush it a little bit and maybe throw it away. Very close play.
It was 108 off the bat. To give you an idea how quickly it got to Mercer. Here's Jose Martinez. One ball, one strike. Big gap in left center. And it's pulled past Jose Oquendo, foul. San Francisco, they've got the bald dudes.
They do, and they give us the story of each one of the bald dudes down the left field line, right field line. They're often retired fans of the Giants and in their mid to late 70s, often with baseball background and community background, and they have a blast.
Tyone steps and throws and makes the play. I was getting worried when I see a foul ball hit to those guys. Not quite nimble. By the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. 1-0 our score in favor of the Pirates, top of 5 on the banks of the Mississippi.
You have the disclaimer memorized yet?
No, it'll never happen. I could try it 1,000 different ways to memorize it. It will not happen. And I'm not sure why, but it won't. And how about you? Could you do it? Could you reel it off?
I just don't want to.
Take your ball and go home.
I don't need to, actually.
It's 0-2 now on Jamison Tyone. And he waves at it. And a strikeout for Miles Michaelis, his second of the night. I like this giveaway. This one is interesting. 30,000 fans, 16 and older, take home a Carlos Martinez mystery hair bobblehead. It's courtesy of AT&T. Which one will you take home? You just don't know.
If I was a collector, I would say I'd like to get all 4 of those.
You can visit the life-sized version of this bobblehead in Ford Plaza. It's on display all season long. Cardinals.com/promotions. Mystery hair bobblehead. Megan Eberhardt is the designer of many of the giveaways, and she does a remarkable job. And the giveaways have become such an important part of baseball and getting fans to the ballpark. And a grounder under the glove of Martinez. And Frazier with his speed is thinking 3. And this will be a triple. Well, Josh Harrison, a late scratch in the lineup, and Frazier now with a double and a triple filling in.
Pirates have had a number of triples in the last week. It's becoming an epidemic for them. And this one's done a little bit differently just by pulling the ball right down the right field line with Fowler way off the line. Long way to get to it, and the speed of Frazier enough to get him to third.
Infield drawn in. It's Francisco Cervelli hit by a pitch and struck out. Last 5 starts for Michaelis, a 1.89 ERA. In those starts, he's 3-0. The Cardinals have won all 5.
7 triples, by the way, in the last 9 days.
The Cardinals with 2 triples this year total. Wong and Bader. Infield in, and the 0-1 pitch to Cervelli. 0-2.
Michaelis went in to get a strike. I think that was designed for him to literally hit a foul ball. Throw it off the plate, see if you can jam him. Maybe he'll pop it up, but at least if it's in enough, there's no way to hit that ball fair. I mean, it's almost impossible. And it's close enough that he's got to go at it, and now maybe you try to wipe him out with a breaking pitch.
And the 0-2. Jumped on it. Out to deep left. Ozuna back. It's over his head and off the wall. Cervelli scampering to second. Now to third. And the throw is not in time. So back-to-back triples.
May give Ozuna an error as he bobbled the ball in left field. It gave Cervelli a chance to go from second to third. We'll wait to see how that scored, but heads up base running either way by Cervelli. And instead of that wipeout slider, he got the double up on the fastball. There's the attempt by Ozuna. Ball was smoked by Cervelli.
So it is scored a triple, and the infield remains in, and ball 1 to Starling Marte. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Marte losing the bat to the back screen, and it's 1-1. Pitch count only at 68 for Miles Michaelis. And the 1-1 pitch. Tapped foul, 1-2. This is where Miles needs that strikeout.
That's what he was going for with Cervelli, and he chose to try to throw the fastball up, but it wasn't up enough. And Cervelli was able to get on top of it, but he doubled up on the fastball. Now you're ahead of Marte. Do you try the fastball again up for that same result, or do you go to that slider down and away? I think he'll go slider this time with Marte.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Pulled. Nice play by Carpenter. To first. The stretch by Martinez. Nicely done on both ends. Tricky hop for Carpenter. Up to the test.
That was really good hands by Matt Carpenter. That was not an easy play. On the backhand, Marte gets it in play, and good hands right next to the runner. That's going to freeze the runner. Pirates were wondering for a moment whether Martinez was pulled off the bag at the very last second, but kept that foot on.
And the batter will be Josh Bell.
Could be a big out in this game before it's over.
He had a sac fly and an RBI back in the third. So 2 outs, runner at third, the infield back in, strike one. Bell, his power, really his best side for that power is this side of the plate. All 4 home runs have been hit on this side. 25 of his 32 RBIs from the left side. That front foot wide open stance nearly out of the batter's box. Just hovering right on that chalk line. The 1-1 pitch. And a fly ball. Ozuna backing up. Plenty of room and makes the catch. Back-to-back triples. Pirates add to their lead. Faced the minimum thus far.
Not only that, Dan, but you know that old story of Satchel Paige pitching to Josh Gibson and telling his outfielders that they can go ahead and sit down because he was going to get him out. He didn't need him. Well, we haven't had one ball hit into the outfield yet in this game. So Tyone could have said the same thing. And, you know, Tyone Dan, on a personal side, is a little over a year away from getting news that he had testicular cancer and having surgery and a quick recovery, getting back into the rotation, finishing the season with the Pirates. It's pretty spectacular how quick his recovery was. His doctors said no one had caught it in his particular practice as quickly as Tyone did, and just good to see him back pitching again and healthy.
2-1 the count here on Marcell Ozuna. Ground ball right side, diving stop by Frazier, and Ozuna is safe for the first hit in the game for St. Louis. Tyone was diagnosed, as Rick mentioned, early May of last year. Surgery immediately after that. Frazier made this close. He was having discomfort in his groin region, and he thought at the time it was just from lifting weights. And then he realized something wasn't right. He was in a hotel room in Cincinnati, actually went on WebMD to look, and he was having pain, a lot of exhaustion, fatigue. He was sleeping, he said, 10 to 12 hours a day, and he couldn't explain why. And then, as Rick mentioned, he beat cancer, and he's partnered up to make Commonplace Coffee, and those proceeds go to young adults trying to beat cancer. He said, my whole outlook on life has changed, and you can understand why.
You bet.
He said he's more mature. He said I really took baseball at times for granted. And he's a coffee fanatic, so he thought this might be a good way to do something fun. Some of the interest that he has is with coffee, and so he started that up, and all proceeds go to help fight cancer. Pretty amazing, though, going to WebMD, then calling his parents, and his parents saying immediately go to the doctor right now. Here's a 1-1. Ripped into right field off the bat of Fowler. And the Cardinals have something going here. I'll tell you what, don't take for granted the play that Jordy Mercer just made with the throw by Polanco. He threw a rocket back in and short hopped him, and nobody was there to back him up. Ozuna was ready to take off.
Dexter Fowler's timing so much better, especially from the left side. He did have a hit from the right side in Milwaukee against Hader, but a lot more line drives. You don't see Dexter, Dan, going underneath the ball, popping it up as much. And here's last night's hero.
First pitch to Jairo Munoz. You talk about the pop-ups with Fowler, and it was also a lot of just lazy fly balls when he's hitting from the left side into left field.
Absolutely. Nothing lazy about that last swing.
No. 2 runners on, nobody out. And a strike, 1-1. Outfield is deep for Munoz. The speed of Ozuna, base hit, you would think, get the Cardinals on the board. Inside. Did not go, says the first base umpire and crew chief Jeff Kellogg. Cubs are in the top of the 8th, and they have a 3-2 lead over the New York Mets. Mets have really come back after that outstanding start that they had. Get out of play. 2-2. Munoz was acquired in the Stephen Piscotty deal. Piscotty, through games last night, was hitting .227 with 3 home runs, 19 driven in. Max Schrock was also brought over, and Schrock, a middle infielder, Now at Memphis, hitting .296, 3 home runs, and he's driven in 21.
Munoz may have missed his pitch the pitch before. That one was a better breaking ball, but the one before, Munoz acted as if, boy, that's a pitch I should have smoked somewhere, and I saw the same reaction from Tyone. Sometimes that happens in an at-bat. You'll get one pitch you can handle, and that's the one you better rip, because the pitcher's going to go to work after that.
Two and two, 2-0 lead, 2 runners on. Outside corner, strikeout of Munoz. Number 3 tonight for Tyone.
So the breaking ball was a pitch he could hit in the middle of the plate, and this fastball paints the outside corner at 97.
Wong grounded out to first. 0 for 1. And strike 1.
Colton experiments, Dan, every once in a while with where his hands are in his stance, but he's very different now. The bat for a lot of this season has been vertical, straight up. Now it's flat on his shoulder. Elbow still high, left elbow still high.
0-1 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. And I've seen him use this stance before.
Yes.
You're right. He's gone back and forth with this.
He has. It's a feel thing. Where can I get the bat to where it needs to be? And of course, it starts there. But as the pitcher is getting ready to release the ball, he will change his hand position. It's a trigger. When his right foot goes up, the bat also gets into hitting position.
Makes me think of the man with 1,000 stances, one Cal Ripken, the all-time leader in consecutive games played. It was this date 93 years ago, 1925. Lou Gehrig started his consecutive game streak, 2,130. So think about that. He started in 1925. It ended in 1939. The current leader in Major League Baseball, Alcides Escobar, and he has played in 389 consecutive games.
Keep going.
Yeah.
We'll see in about 14 years.
He's got a while. It is amazing with all the, Ripken too, and anybody that plays that amount of games in a row.
Dan,
I mean, it's incredible.
What's the percentage of Major League players that play 14 years?
Good point.
I'm going to say it's 2%.
Strikeout of Wong. An inning that began with so much promise. Well, the Cardinals burned the Royals with this man at the plate and the pitcher coming up. With 2 outs, 8th place hitter, and they gave Pena something to hit, and he made him pay. You got Michaelis on deck. Now, Greg Garcia has moved to the on-deck circle, but that could be just for show.
I believe that's what it is. Unless.
Hit down the left field line, but foul.
But you wouldn't walk a second guy into scoring position either way, really, with Pena at the plate. You'll probably, if it was second and third, that's a very different situation. 2 are already in scoring position. And with an 8th place hitter up, you're going to go after him here, Dan, I would say. But it'd be very interesting to see whether we see Greg Garcia or not if Pena gets aboard.
Pena breaks his bat, slowly hit. Mercer to first, and in time. So the Cardinals strand a pair, and we're through 5. It's 2-0 Pittsburgh. Weidman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. And by Ford, going further so you can. Our score, the Pirates 2, the Cardinals nothing in the top of the 6th, and Miles Michaelis indeed back out to the mound. Our Budweiser What's on Tap. It's day baseball tomorrow and again on Sunday. Both pregame shows will come your way at 12:30 on Fox Sports Midwest. Chad Kuhl and Luke Weaver in Game 3. Nick Kingham and Michael Wacha in Game 4. Cardinals right now chasing the Milwaukee Brewers. Milwaukee taking on the White Sox tonight. Brewers on the road in Chicago. In a neat moment, Danny Farquhar throwing out the first pitch after suffering a brain aneurysm for the White Sox, and he is expected to be back on the mound, not this year but next year, and pitch for the White Sox. But Ricky, that got me thinking of Daniel Ponce de Leon. Separate issues, but obviously life-threatening. Those that know the story of Ponce de Leon, pitcher for the Cardinals in the minor leagues last year, took a line drive off his head, a fractured skull, nearly passed away. Well, what's he done? He has a 2.48 ERA right now at Memphis, and there's a base hit into center. It's bobbled by Bader, but no damage done. And now with Flaherty here in the rotation with the Cardinals, Ponce de Leon has the best ERA for a club that is 34-21, the Memphis Redbirds.
And you add Dakota Hudson to that, and you've got two outstanding pitchers at the AAA level at the moment. But Ponce de Leon is certainly a great story. Got a nice award at the Baseball Writers Dinner last year. Had a chance to interview him, and Ponce de Leon doesn't really like to kind of talk about himself very much. He's a guy that is a very few words, but he was very grateful to his teammates and the players on the other teams. The Iowa Cubs, the player Cavatini, I believe his name is, the Cubs backup catcher
Victor Caratini.
Caratini is the one that hit him. He came to visit him multiple times at the hospital after he got hit, and he's just grateful that people kind of were behind him, and it's just amazing that he's not only been able to come back and pitch, but that he's pitching at such a high level. We're going to see him at some point. We're going to see him. So the good news for Cardinal fans is, you like the young arms now, there's more coming.
Ryan Helsley just promoted up to Memphis. Another one. You mentioned Dakota Hudson. Patrick Wisdom, by the way, offensively with a 16-game hitting streak.
Austin Gomber's here. We've not seen him yet. Maybe tonight's the night.
Well, we talked about it last night, and we're getting into that territory here. Jordan Hicks, there's no way he pitches tonight. But Norris had 7 pitches in the game last night. There's a look at Gomber. And you got to find guys that can bridge the gap from what Miles Michaelis is doing to get to potentially Bud Norris in a safe situation tonight.
There's no telling what the score will be by the time we get there but it'll probably be the 8th inning when you get to these left-handers again. And this would be the time, had Michaelis been pinch hit for by Greg Garcia, it might have been a time for Gomber. You also hate to bring him in a close game late too for his major league debut.
Yeah, that's tough.
Normally not what's done.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Colin Moran. Out to right field. Fowler won't get there. It's a short hop. It drops in for a base hit. The Phillips 66 ticket vouchers are back, and they're better than ever. Philip at Phillips 66, 8 gallons or more, and you can get a voucher for up to 50% off, up to 8 tickets to a home game. For more information, visit cardinals.com/Phillips66. Back-to-back singles, and here's Polanco. Robbed his first time up by Bader. Catch up against the wall in left center, and he also flied to Bader his second time up, and he's 0 for 2. And a strike. First pitch strikes, 20 of 25. Just missed. Beautiful night here in St. Louis. Very warm and hot. Right around 7:15. It's cooled off a bit. Very pleasant. Here's a 1-1 pitch to Polanco inside.
The game can turn a lot of ways here in this 6th inning with back-to-back base hits for the Pirates. The ground ball double play would change it in a positive way. Polanco has the power to change it in a negative way. Michael is set to lead off. Dan in the 6th.
In there for a strike, 2-2.
He'd like to finish strong.
Full count. This becomes a very big pitch in this game.
Getting towards the bottom of the lineup. Mercer next, then the pitcher spot. Tyone's not coming out of this game. So what you do with Polanco may tell you what happens this inning.
And Tyone has only had 64 pitches on the night. Runners at first and second, and a 3-2 pitch to Gregory Polanco. We'll do it again. Busch Stadium really is filled up. Huge crowd here tonight. We're expecting great crowds all weekend long. Be an off day on Monday, and then the Marlins will be here.
Dickerson has good speed at second base. Moran does not at first, and you would think the Pirates would be pretty skittish about the strike him out, throw him out possibility with Polanco at the plate. That's why they did not run on the last pitch.
Out of play. It's interesting too when you think about the potential of a double steal, and some fans may say, well, Ricky, that's an easier throw for Pena to third with a left-handed bat in the batter's box, and that's true, but sometimes the trail runner is the easier runner to get.
Absolutely.
It's another 3-2 pitch, and it's popped up. Carpenter racing over. He's got it. Big out.
Racing over, a great description of what Carpenter did there. He did not drift on that at all. I think he knew the importance of that out, and again, Matt's not the fastest guy in the Cardinals team, but the minute that's up, he's after it. I mean, he's moving. Eyes the dugout and knows that that out could change this inning and potentially this game.
Here's Jordy Mercer. Twice he is grounded out to third. It was back-to-back singles to start the inning. Dickerson to center, Moran to right, and now Mercer with one out. Strike one. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Bader shading. Mercer to right center. Pulled foul. 1-2. Oh, look at that little guy right behind you. All right, you gave it to another little guy. I'm good with it. I'm a watchdog tonight on this stuff.
You are.
Come to the ballpark. You have a good time. You got it?
40,000 plus.
That's the deal. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Line to Carpenter. Double play. Wong to the bag at second, and what a double play turn by the Cardinals. A line shot to Matt Carpenter. Quickly to second. Pitcher's best friend. Coming up, Cardinals.com/promotions. Be on July 1st. Cardinals.com/promotions. Also, kids entering with a ticket receive a kids bucket hat. That's Powerade and Coca-Cola. Here's Greg Garcia. So the night for Miles Michaelis is through. Cardinals carrying right now 5 on their bench. This is the lone lefty, Garcia. He sends a fly ball into left center. And the catch made by Dickerson. Tuivailala, Sam Tuivailala, the hard-throwing right-hander, getting loose.
Really a good start by Michaelis. Went 6 innings, gave up 6 hits, only 1 earned run, 2 runs total. Walked 1, struck out 2. He wasn't really dominating, but I guess in some ways you give up 1 run in 6 innings. That's a kind of domination, and he's been consistent from day one.
Here's Carpenter back to the top of the Cardinals lineup.
We mentioned it a couple of days ago, but just to repeat it, Miles Michaelis, the only Cardinal pitcher in the history of the organization to go the first 2 months of the season with 10 or more starts, ERA under 3 without a loss.
I did not think that coming out of spring, and also think that's some of the best hair right now in the league. Couple that with the mustache, and that's an outstanding look. Sensing Megan Eberhardt looking at that and saying, you know what, we got the Martinez bobblehead with the hair, now we've got Miles next year. Now, would you include the mustache on the bobblehead? as Carpenter fouls it back. The 2-2.
You mentioned the low pitch count for Tyone. That's exactly what Clint Hurdle was hoping for with the way his bullpen has been the past 4 or 5 days.
And a strikeout of Carpenter is second of the night.
He shows no signs of tiring either.
Tyone was the second overall pick in the 2010 draft behind Bryce Harper. The Cardinals in 2010 selected Zach Cox, number 25 overall, third baseman out of Arkansas. They turned that into Edward Mujica, who, by the way, has 2 saves for Memphis right now. He's with the Memphis Redbirds. And in 2013, he was an all-star. Remember how good he was? He had 37 saves, Mujica, that year. It's now 5 strikeouts for Tyone, and here's Bader. And a strike. He has walked and grounded out to short. I'm going to be up late tonight, Ricky. I got a lot of fan mail. Some good, some bad.
Well, got to take the good and the bad together, Danny. But you're going to answer all of them, right?
Answer all of them. Send them on in. Actually, I had one bad letter. It was ripping you, so I didn't like it.
Okay. That's good to hear.
Bader hustling down the line, and Tyone makes the play. A stick up for you, Ricky.
Thanks, Dan.
We've seen some good defense. Bader, Wong. How about Carpenter? Quick pick. The backhand at third base. And then this double play. The BJC Healthcare difference maker. Our Chevy call to the pen, Sam Tuivailala.
Sam's been getting more close and late situations in the Cardinals bullpen and still searching for that 8th inning answer, 7th, 8th inning answer. And you know, I was thinking about that today too, Dan, and actually you and I talked about it some, is you can have a 7, 8, 9 inning answer on a Monday, but what do you do on Tuesday? The bullpen has to be deep enough so that you have a 7, 8, 9 answer every day. So all the relievers matter, and you're only as good as your weakest link. But Sam has shown to me increased velocity this year, more strikes attacking the zone. Hasn't been perfect, but I just like his assortment a little better. Using that cutter and curveball well to play off each other, and hitting mid 90s with the fastball.
You know, we had that shot of the Cardinal personnel that have gathered for the draft this weekend. Well, you'd love to hear some of the backstories on these players and the guys that maybe drafted as Sam Tuivailala as a position player, and now to watch him as a pitcher, and Harrison Bader, Matt Carpenter. I mean, there's so many stories in that room right there of those men that have affected many of the men that you see playing tonight.
I saw on Twitter, I was reading through Twitter last night, which is always an interesting way to spend some time, and someone had posted a scouts report on Derek Jeter at a high school, and
was it flattering? Was it?
No, he was in this one. He was emphatically in favor of, you have to take this guy.
Oh, is that right?
And he says, I'm telling you, this guy is a can't miss, once in a generation type player, and he was right. And scouts have to, they put their name on the line. They see a player and they have to project. It's not just what you are, but what do they think you will be.
And a strikeout for Sam Tuivailala. The draft this year actually a little bit earlier than in previous seasons. So you'll have college players that get drafted, and right now we're just in the regional process of the college postseason. Then it goes to the super regionals, and then you go to the College World Series in Omaha. So a lot of baseball left to be played.
And the college players a little easier to figure out who they're going to become, because a lot of them are 20, 21 years old. Jordan Hicks's age.
Wong, a la Derek Jeter, a little jump, a hop, and a throw. Nice play.
Guess you knew we were talking about him. Colton's defense has been so good. Ali Marmol, Jose Oquendo, always watching the defense. There's the jump and throw. Colton has not had a good year offensively. There's no two ways about that, but it has not affected his defense, to his credit. But the high school player, Dan, mentioning the draft, the high school player much more difficult to figure out. You have a 17-year-old kid, you kind of look at his parents and think, well, is he going to get taller? Is he going to get stronger? What do I project his body to fill out and look like? And does he have an older brother, or that
how will he be away from home?
How will he be? What's his makeup? And there's no real number for the makeup. That's intuition and feel and just emotional intelligence on the part of the scout to recognize what is this kid really like.
There's Bud Norris, the veteran, on the right, and Jordan Hicks made the jump from A-ball to the major leagues. Jordan Hicks, a starter this time last year. Where do you think ultimately his future lies? Closer, rotation? What do you think?
I think closer. I think you could go either way with him, but oh boy. Pena's been hit a number of times this season, filling in for Yachty. That one got him pretty good. Oof.
You know, the catchers, it's that fraternity. They know each other and how dangerous that position can be. And a late call, and Cervelli, he can't believe it as he spins around. There's a few words for Quinn Wolcott, the home plate umpire, coming up for the Cardinals. Martinez, Ozuna, and Fowler. Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. Well, this might be the inning that the Cardinals look at and say, we got to get to Taillon. Running out of outs in the 7th. They're down by 2. Sean Rodriguez takes over, and he'll be at second base. You talked about the conversation that probably is happening right now with Mike Matheny and his staff. 8th and 9th inning. It certainly is going on the Pittsburgh side, because Felipe Vasquez has gone 3 days in a row. You would think he's unavailable. We'll see how they want to play it late, but right now Taillon only at 76 pitches.
Kyle Crick was moved to their 8th inning pitcher just yesterday, and you wonder whether he's moved from 8th to 9th inning the next day. He had a scoreless frame here last night, but I don't think they'll use Vasquez again. I think that would be pretty odd if they did 3-4 days in a row after the rough outing yesterday. So I'm guessing Crick will close it out if they get to that point. But they had just taken Michael Feliz out of the 8th inning job. So who has the 8th if Taillon can't get that far?
1-2 the count on Martinez. Get into a double play, grounded back to the pitcher Taillon. Big gap in left center. 2-2.
Dan, it's something we know because we're here every day. But the decision on how you handle the bullpen is not made in a vacuum. It's not just today. And if you're watching this game, we're glad you're with us. And as you want to see the best result today, the best pitcher in the situation for this game, well, there's also tomorrow, and there was yesterday, and there's 2 days from now. And you can't keep using the same. You can't use Jordan Hicks every day. You can't use Bud Norris every day. And if a fan is only watching a game or two, you might say, I just don't understand why they didn't use Bud Norris today. It was a close game. Well, you've got to find some games to use everybody else too. John Brebbia, Mike Myers, Sam Tuivailala.
Maybe at some point Austin Gomber. The check swing did not go. 3-2. I think sometimes you can manage maybe a little differently knowing that you have an off day on Sunday, or rather Monday. So Sunday comes and you maybe push a little bit differently.
That's
there.
part of it.
Yeah.
That's part of the decision making. That's part of you get a little flexibility with an off day, and you also get a flexibility if you've got a guy pitching the next day you think's going to go 7 or 8.
Another good point. I mean, this is exactly what the Pirates needed tonight from Tyone. I think also when you get into late August, early September, you're making that push, and then you'll see guys maybe push that you didn't see that way in April and May. And the 3-2. Pulled the string on 3 and 2 and had him way out in front. And the strikeout, number 6 tonight for Tyone.
There's a pitch down in the zone. How much sink did that have?
Might have been one of his best pitches of the night.
That Martinez, who again understands the strike zone pretty well, swung at a pitch that was clearly down in the zone.
So 1 out, and here's Ozuna. Slowly hit up the third base line, and he's safe. He's got 2 hits tonight, and he's 2 for 3, a pair of infield hits.
Ozuna's getting infield hits. He's getting flares to right. His average is over 260. Still not driving the ball like he will eventually, but I think that's a good sign that he's getting on base. It puts a smile on his face and takes some of the burden off his shoulders. That's okay.
Yeah, if he wasn't getting base hits, this would be mounting the pressure.
100%.
So 3 infielders on the right side, and here is Dexter Fowler. Dexter is 1 for 2. Cardinals earlier today were practicing turning a double play with a shift. So in this case, where Mercer is at the bag on the second base side, normally the shortstop, if a ball is hit to third, and trying to turn it like a second baseman. And the 0-1.
Can't remember the last time I saw a pitching machine on the field during early work. Sometimes they'll use that for pop flies.
Yeah.
But they were using it for bunting drills, and that tells me some coaches' arms are hanging. And I know that feeling too.
Here's a 1-1.
Been in those meetings before too, and you know, day after day after day, and it's like, well, who wants to throw to groups 1, 2, and 3, or I got 4, I got the early work, and you know, there's 2 or 3 of you that are actually throwing. You just think, I think maybe they need the day off.
Had enough today, right? I'm hurting.
More resources at the big league level, of course.
Oh, yeah. 2-1, hit sharply to second, knocked down by Rodriguez, and they'll get the lead man. And the batter will be Jairo Munoz. Steven Brault, left-hander, was throwing in their pen. We have 2 lefties, Brault and Vasquez, and 5 right-handers. There's Brault. Well, one swing of the bat, this game could be tied. The Cardinals only with 3 hits on the night. Munoz is 0 for 2, grounded to short, and struck out.
I was going to ask you, because your predictions lately have been extraordinarily good. Who's going to be hitting the walk-off home run here tonight for the Cardinals?
Tommy Pham.
It was a quick answer.
It's grounded to third, and Moran makes the play. He's from Vegas. I'm rolling the dice.
I'm ready.
exciting new area of the ballpark. And get a theme ticket and a chance to get that bobblehead of Scott Rowland. Cardinals.com/BudBash. The second inning of work for Sam Tuivailala as we move to the top of the 8th, and the Cardinals trailing 2-0. Marte, Bell, and Dickerson. Miles Michaelis, his 6 innings, gave up 2 runs, only 1 was earned. And a grounder that's pulled foul. Tuivailala has gone 2 innings 3 different times this year. Good fastball. That view behind home plate, boy, I'll tell you what, it shows you how quickly that ball is on a hitter.
Yeah, we understand very clearly that a lot of our viewers aren't comfortable with that view. They like the straightaway view from center field, but occasionally we show you this just so you'll see just how quick the ball gets on the hitter. You cannot tell that from the center field camera. Wow, you couldn't see that ball, for goodness sakes. And apparently neither could Marte.
3rd strikeout for Sam Tuivailala.
Painted 98. That's a new number for Sam.
I think he's getting better and better as the season has gone on. We'll see if that continues. Now Josh Bell.
So Tommy Pham.
Tommy Pham with the walk-off.
Do you have the ad-lib call already planned?
Oh, no. No.
Just instinct?
You got to let it fly, man.
Let it fly, okay.
Let it rip.
It does help that you already know who's going to hit it.
That part does help. I can honestly say I was not expecting a Jairo Munoz walk-off last night. That's for sure. Let's see if the Cardinals have something up their sleeves tonight. The 2-0 pitch in a moment here as Bell steps out. It is a big crowd here at Busch Stadium. Over 47,000. 5th sellout of the year. 47,135. 47135. (3-0) on Bell. And a strike. And a 1-out walk. Injury or illness should never interrupt childhood. St. Louis Children's Hospital, guardians of childhood. Here's Corey Dickerson, 1 for 3 on the night. Twice he has grounded out to second base, and he also picked up a base hit to center. You mentioned how Pittsburgh, they're just kind of gritty. You know, they really do grind through, and we're seeing them a bunch here recently. And
right.
They just grind through the games. Don't give away a lot of at-bats.
Wonder how that'll play out over 6 months, if they have enough talent for the grind to get them through. I did hear that today Jung Ho Kang is going to start his games down in Florida and begin a rehab assignment, which means I think potentially 3 weeks from now he's with the Pirates. That could help their offense.
One thing we have not seen is not much of David Freese. That's in any of the games that the Cardinals have played the Pirates in. And now a visit from Mike Maddox. One thing that Yadier Molina would do anytime that David Freese would step to the plate, he'd go out in front of the plate, kind of play with the dirt a little bit, maybe have something in his eye. There's David Freese, the hometown product and local hero here in St. Louis. Mr. Maddox in 2011. And David still gets a standing O every time.
And David could go 0 for the rest of his career, and everybody, or most people in St. Louis, I mean, maybe I can't say everybody will still love him.
One of my all-time favorite people, David Freese. And the best thing for him was to get out of St. Louis. Just see, I remember being out with him a couple times socially. And he just couldn't go anywhere. I think he was getting suffocated here. And that happens when you're a Cardinal and you've had great success. And sometimes it's just better to get out of your hometown. Especially when you're the World Series MVP.
Some local players that made it big here. You go back to Dal Maxville. Think of Bernard Gilkey, Cliff Polite. We saw earlier he's at the ballpark today.
Scott Cooper.
They get it. They understand the pressure of playing where they grew up. It's a unique group of people that really get each other, I think.
Talk to some guys, and what they do is that they have either a family member or they hire someone essentially to say no. They're always getting tugged at for ticket requests, an appearance. Can you do this for me, do that for me? And that's fine. And the majority of players say yes, because the majority of them are very good people too outside of baseball. But this is their job, and you've got to be able to prepare. That's off the sidewall, and Bell now being waved in. They'll test Ozuna. Relay to the plate, and safe.
There were some strange things on that play, including the route that Bell took around third base to score on that. Ozuna did hit the cutoff man. I thought he was going to be out at the plate. The throw from Carpenter maybe hard to pick up around the runner for Pena, and just wasn't able to make that exchange. But Bell takes a weird route right about now. He's heading towards third. He looks, whoop, the bag's over there.
He was happy to stop at third.
I think he was. And here's the throw at the plate, and well, it would have been catch tag all in one motion. Was not an easy attempt there.
So Dickerson with the RBI to drive in Josh Bell, and Mike Myers coming on. That'll be it for Tuivailala. into the ball game with two lefties coming up. It's our Chevy call to the pen. Now you can understand Austin Gomber. Maybe you want to start him with a fresh inning. I'm not sure you want to start throwing him in a tight game, but you have two other lefties out there, and I think what Mike Matheny is saying right now is that he likes the matchup better here with Myers against the lefties instead of maybe a lefty coming in and then Clint Hurdle countering with a right-handed bat.
Well, that's one of the problems of it is you do bring the lefty in to face Moran. Maybe you're facing Freese or Josh Harrison instead. That's part of the issue. But I'm still, frankly, a little surprised that it's not Cecil at the moment. Lyons has pitched a couple of times in the last few days and may be off limits today, potentially. But we haven't seen Cecil in a while.
So 1 out, infield in, 3-0 our score. Moran at the plate. Little tapper hit up the first base line, but foul.
The one thing, Dan, and I learned this the hard way a couple of times, and then I've relearned it and relearned it and relearned it. There's always more information down on the field about the condition of players and some little nuances about why choices are made that sometimes have to go undisclosed, and sometimes they're game day realities.
Yeah, we're not privy to the injuries or guy coming up with a sore arm or whatever the case may be. Here's the 0-1 pitch. But on the surface, this would seem to be the time that a lefty would be used.
And I wouldn't think Gomber, as you said, in a major league debut, but I would think Cecil. There's Dominic Leone on the right. Good to see him in one way, but also sad to see him. He was just moved to the 60-day DL, and he's a guy that the Cardinals really counting on. He had such a good year last year for Toronto, and that's a big miss right now.
And a fly ball lifted out to right. Fowler with the catch. Runner tags and will score to make it a 4-0 Pittsburgh lead. It's now 2 outs in the inning.
There's the slider that just spins a little bit. That's not the sharpest slider that we've seen from Myers. Good situational hitting, though, by Moran. But that comment, Dan, about the extra info is something that Tony La Russa and I talked about a lot. And he's the one that would love to say that to us. He said, look, you guys could talk about matchups and guessing and who should pitch. And his favorite thing to say was, look, you know, you guys have been around this game a long time. You've earned the right to talk about what could be happening here. But always remember, I have more information than you do.
Right.
And he's absolutely right.
2-0. Now I can understand where a lot of fans would say, okay, maybe Cecil is off limits. Let's go back to talking about Gomber here. You know, Gomber has been a starter down in the minor leagues, and there's a lot of factors that go into that. Starting an inning clean, getting loose, getting ready, how you prepare as a reliever to get ready in a hurry. You know, those are all things you got to think about too.
And you're trailing a game late, and maybe you've got a starter tomorrow that you want somebody to be available to back up for 2 or 3 innings. That's always a consideration.
2 balls and a strike here on Polanco with 2 outs.
That's not the norm for Luke Weaver in this case, who happens to be the starter tomorrow, but that could happen where Luke could have 4-inning start. And who's your long man?
And that pitch taken high, and it's now a full count. The final now, the Cubs over the Mets 7-4, and Polanco hits it into the gap in right center. That's off the base of the wall. Bader tracking it down and quickly back into the infield. So a 2-out double for Gregory Polanco.
Again, it's a breaking ball that spins, and Polanco doesn't miss it. The hits have not helped this inning, no question about it, but the 1-out walk to Josh Bell got things going.
Yeah. Joey Valala had retired the first man, Marte. The walk by Bell, double by Dickerson to bring him in. Moran a sac fly. And then Polanco now a double into the gap in right. So 4-0 our score. And here's Jordy Mercer. And a slider in there for a strike. Oh, and 2. Polanco at second, and the 0-2 pitch to Mercer in the dirt, low. Inside corner and a strikeout for Myers. Midway through 8. That young fan still having a little fun here at the ballpark. Budweiser plays of the game. 6 strikeouts through 7 innings, and he's still going.
He's had a good fastball, Dan, and there's been a lot of talk about the new slider that he has, but the fastball to me has been his dominant pitch. High 90s, well located. He's been able to elevate when he needs to. 6 strikeouts and just the 1 walk, and really been in command throughout. And he's not only did he match Miles Michaelis, who he was up against just a few days ago in Pittsburgh, he pitched better than him, and Michaelis was good.
There's Colton Wong at the plate to lead it off here in the home half of the 8th. Be Wong, Pena, in Meyer's spot. Tommy Pham has moved to the on-deck circle.
And Brett Cecil is now warming up for St. Louis.
Wong, a liner into right. Polanco, a shoestring catch. Nice play.
So well hit by Colton. Frustrating that you get one on the screws and Polanco makes that kind of play. Took a hit away. Well, here's your guy that's going to hit the walk-off game winner. It's going to have to somehow be a 5-run home run with nobody on.
Or what you do, you got to think positive here, Rick. He starts a rally. Maybe we have a tie game late, and then Tommy Pham comes up again.
Okay.
1 ball, 1 strike. So he's pinch hitting here for Pena. You got back-to-back day games coming up. I would bet you would see Pena and Carson Kelly split those. Maybe Kelly day game after a night game.
So
we'll see.
You're doubling down on a Pham walk-off.
Oh yeah, doubling down. Of course, you would hit on 18.
And a good reminder that there is no betting in baseball.
Just heard that you might do. I don't know.
You heard other people talking about it.
Yeah. 3-2. But Tyone very efficient tonight. 98 pitches, and here's a 3-2 pitch to Tommy Pham. And Pham with a high fly ball into right center. It's at the wall and caught. Think about the idea of trying to center the ball and drive it. Tommy Pham has done that, but hasn't had a lot to show for it, unfortunately for him.
Especially not the last couple of weeks. He hit that ball on the screws, and that's a building block at bat for Tommy Pham. It's an out, yes. Is he frustrated? Yes, but he can build on that. You got a pitcher out there that's dealing, and he just sent Marte to the wall. Feels a lot better than hitting a weak ground ball to second.
And it's 0-2 now on Jed Jerko. Left on the Cardinals bench, Kelly and Voit. And Jed pops it up behind home plate. And right below us. Now, I'll tell you what, that's as close as we've had to a foul ball in the booth.
Did you see the effort I made?
Wasn't much of one. I'll tell you that for sure.
A fair amount better than yours.
You're right. I didn't move.
I at least leaned over to try to catch it.
You did. I got to give credit where credit's due. She got hit on the arm, and but still has a souvenir. It was picked up by a fan, and here's an ice pack and also the baseball. Rodriguez was playing up the middle. Might have a sore arm, but you got a souvenir. And now a picture. Look at my bruise. Pirates will pinch hit for Jamison Tyone. Brett Cecil into the ballgame in our Chevy Colt to the pen.
When you look at the numbers against lefties, 353 batting average may have been part of the reason why he wasn't in last inning, because he's in an inning now where he's going to face nothing but right-handed batters. So sometimes you go away from the lefty-righty based on numbers. Carson Kelly takes over behind home plate because Pena was pinch hit for.
David Freese. And the first pitch is strike.
You know, one of the amazing things about that is, you know, there are 40,000 people here. They may not have been the 40,000 people here the last time everybody cheered for David Freese. And it's like, hey, I want to have an opportunity to let him know what I think about him. We always think, well, wait a minute, he's already been back here. Why are we people cheering him? Well, they're different people here at the ballpark. And people have such great, fond memories of David Freese.
0-2 the count. And Freese hits it in the air to right center, and it drops in for a base hit on an 0-2 pitch. What a shot. A base hit to right for David Freese.
Broken bat. Colton Wong gave it the best effort he could.
And we're back to the top of the lineup in Sean Rodriguez. You mentioned no betting in baseball.
I did.
And when you think about betting in baseball, the name of Pete Rose comes up. You, in kind of an odd way, are intertwined to an extent with Pete Rose.
Well, not in ways that some might guess, but yes, well, the opportunity to compete against him, and I thought he was just a tremendous player. I mean, a tremendous player, he really was. And there's a lot of folks that go different ways about his Hall of Fame part, but whether or not that should disallow him from being in the Hall of Fame. But a year or two ago, part of the evidence that came out, there was an actual sheet of that he allegedly or apparently had used to make bets on, and I happened to look at that on Twitter, and I looked at it more closely, and then I enlarged it, and I got it bigger, and I saw my name on it.
Is that right?
And I realized that he had bet against me.
Do you remember what year it was?
Successfully. No, I don't recall, but it's been flying around on the internet, and I could find it. Probably guess what year it would be.
So you were pitching, I guess, a starter.
As a starter at the time, yes.
And Pete Rose bet against you. Now, he was not involved in that game. This is just a number of
I'm not going to
games
say I know he bet against me, but that's what was alleged by this piece of paper. And so I got a lot of people asking me about that when that happened. I mean, it is something that players really want to distance themselves from.
There's a liner and caught by Munoz.
There was a moment where there was a friend of mine was talking about, you know, he and a buddy were going to bet on a game and say, hey, I don't want to know about it. Don't tell me about it. I mean, you walk into the clubhouse, there's a big sign saying don't do it. Every clubhouse has that sign, and you have a meeting every year. Don't do it. And it's so part of the baseball culture.
How did you do in that game again?
I believe I lost that game. Odds are.
I wouldn't say that, Richard.
But I'll have to look that one up, Danny.
So that just came up into your attention within the last couple of years.
Within the last couple of years, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that had surfaced years prior.
Interesting. I had a conversation with Marty Brennaman, the longtime voice of the Reds, and asked him if Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. His personal opinion is that he should be. Now, he will point out, Marty will, that he said he's one of my two best friends, one of two of my best friends in the game of baseball, so I'm biased.
Right.
But he said he went back to the Hall of Fame this last off season with a group of friends, and they gave him just the royal treatment to walk around many of the areas that you don't see as a fan. And he said he couldn't turn anywhere without seeing memorabilia from Pete Rose. You know, game-worn uniforms, jerseys, that kind of thing. And he said,
so
look,
he has a presence there in a sense.
Yeah, and he said if you're going to use Pete to essentially sell the Hall of Fame with his stuff and sell the game of baseball, and I'm paraphrasing here, but then Pete should be in the Hall of Fame. It's really, I go back and forth with it. I don't have a good feeling one way or another.
I have my crack staff, by the way, on that particular start, Dan. It was in April of 1986. And there was a bet against me, and the Cardinals lost that game 5-0 in San Diego. Allegedly. No, we didn't allegedly lose. We did lose.
Yeah. Where do you sit with Pete?
I do not think he should be in the Hall of Fame. And I do think he's one of the best players ever to play this game. And I loved watching him play. It's hard to say all of that in one sentence, but
I get it. Bader makes the catch off the bat of Cervelli. Freeze back to the bag at first. As you stated, it's clear. You walk into a major league clubhouse, no betting on the game, and it's essentially the #1 rule.
And it is odd that that's the #1 rule. I mean, there's a lot of other bad things you can do, and of course we know a lot of those things too. But there's an integrity of the game that I think fans expect, and they've expected it from the beginning. That you just want to make sure that you're watching what's real here.
Right.
Talk about reality TV. There's no, I mean, everybody's competing here in their best interest, in their team's best interest, and in their fans' best interest. That's the way you have to look at it and protect it.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. Instead, a check on David Freese. Wouldn't think he's going anywhere. Fly ball lifted to Marcell Ozuna. Old buddy David Freese back in town, and another nice ovation. Well, the Cardinals with only 3 hits tonight. Tyone, as Brad mentioned, so good in this ball game, Rick Horton, and now they give way to Edgar Santana. Or Chevy called to the pen.
Yeah, he's been roughed up a bit lately. 3.57 ERA. When we saw him earlier, he was just lights out. Tough against left-handers, and he'll have Matt Carpenter as his first hitter. But you can't say enough about Tyone. It's been his night.
4-0 our score. And Carpenter, the first pitch, he hits it out of play. Struck out twice and grounded out.
I wonder if you're a little more nervous tonight if you're a Pirate going into the bottom of the 9th after last night.
And I would counter that and say maybe they feel better because of the struggles of Vasquez going in a different direction.
Could be. Except that the struggles have included Santana lately.
Yeah, right. This is what Clint Hurdle needed, a starter to go deep and dominate it, and he got it. Two balls and 1 strike. On a 2-1 pitch, lifted in the air out to deep center. Marte makes the catch for out number 1. And the batter will be Harrison Bader. The 1-0 pitch to Harrison Bader.
6-game hitting streak on the line here.
0 for 2 with a walk. He started the rally last night for the Cardinals. Two and 1.
Surprised to see that our on deck hitter Jose Martinez, I hadn't noticed the number, but now 0 for his last 16. Like to see him get hot again.
3 and 1. The weather hopefully will be beautiful again tomorrow. 1:15 with our first pitch. As Bader puts it in play to short, Mercer charges and out.
Again, Bader hustling down the line. He's out by a hair, but you just appreciate his hustle. I mean, why wouldn't you, Dan? Why wouldn't you hustle like that? I mean, I just love to see that. 9th inning, down 4.
That's a guy I would imagine would not get into a lot of prolonged slumps too because of his speed. Beat out some hits.
When you think of hustle, you think about the guy we were just talking about,
Yep.
Pete Rose. He ran out walks. People may not remember that, but that's what he did.
Think about Scott Rowland when he hit a home run. How fast he would round the bases. There's no 1 pitch to Martinez. The Pirates 1 out away from taking game 2. Ripped fair. Down into the left field corner. And Martinez on his way to second base.
Danny, good to see him off that 0 for 16. That's the way we like to see Jose Martinez swing the bat, aggressively hitting the ball on the nose. No chance at third.
105 miles per hour off the bat. There's Marcell Ozuna. Rally caps are out here at the ballpark. Runner at second.
Can we get Munoz up with the bases loaded?
Hey, you never know. Cardinals thinking that way. Maybe you're thinking that way. Ozuna, a couple of infield hits in the ball game tonight.
Would create some drama if we get there.
Mitch, the Marlins are coming through. I'll be interested to see and talk to their folks about maybe after those 3 games, what are they seeing out of Marcell Ozuna?
Yes.
Watched him so closely over the years. One and two. And the 1-2 pitch. The 2-2 upstairs. Fowler on deck. Steven Brault has gotten up. He's starting to throw. Right-hander as well. Clint Hurdle will not take any chances tonight. And Ozuna with a drive into right center. Marte with room and makes the catch. And the ball game ends with a fly out off the bat of Ozuna, and the Pirates win this ball game by the final of 4-0.
Cardinals could not get anything going offensively. Outstanding effort by Jameson Taillon, who picks up his third.
Only 4 hits for the Cardinals tonight. 4-0. The Pirates take game 2.